Hi everyone, it's Nick. Welcome back to my channel. Okay, in today's video, we are going to be talking about 2024 interior design trends that I think will last. These are trends that are really popular right now, things that are really popular in interior design, showing up in all the stores that I think are timeless. I think things that will always look good, so you can feel comfortable and confident putting these in your home. I think, at least. I mean, I could be wrong. It's been known to happen before, but probably not. These are also, by the way, things that are trendy right now. So what you're not going to see on this list is subway tile or white kitchens, right? Things that are not super popular right now, but I believe are timeless. Look, a white kitchen might not be the most exciting choice, neither is subway tile necessarily, but it is, I think, a relatively timeless choice. But it is not necessarily hot right now. So we're talking about the stuff that's really popular right now that I think will be timeless and look great in the future. Let's get going. Okay, now one trend for 2024 that is forever timeless is working out and taking care of yourself. And that's why I want to take a quick moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is CoPilot. CoPilot is a fitness coaching app that allows you to connect with a real-life actual personal trainer online to tailor workouts to your goals and equipment at an affordable price point. Having a coach I could meet with online provided the support that I really needed in order to ask questions and get encouragement along the way. After each workout, I could mark the difficulty so I could easily follow up with my trainer and adjust how challenging it was. There's just a little cute little button that says that if you can do more reps, how many you can do more, and a real life coach then adjusts your numbers the next time so you just keep improving. So if you find a move that you don't really know how to do yourself, there is someone on screen that can demo it for you so you can see how you can do it safely and correctly. So your workouts feel fresh as the coach is always changing them, but you always feel guided and you always know what to do so you're never sort of lost in the gym, which can tend to happen especially when you're kind of new. I also really like the CoPilot app because of its flexibility, allowing me to work out on my timeline, including on my recent Christmas vacation in Mexico. It was flexible in creating workouts that were tailored to the available equipment that I had at the resort that I was staying at. I just told Rod, who was my trainer, what equipment I had available, and he tailored my workouts for me to sort of fit my needs. And since everything is virtual and there's a direct chat feature sort of right directly in the app, you can always message your trainer and they can always adjust your workouts as you sort of improve in time and refresh if you get bored. Having a real life human on the other side of the app to me is sort of the biggest change and sort of biggest thing, and what's great about CoPilot. There's a real trainer who's working with you, knowing you're accountable so you show up to workouts when you said that you would, to track your numbers and then raise or lower them as needed, to chat if you need support, and to refresh your workouts regularly with new routines all the time. So if you're ready to implement some amazing changes in your life this year, then click on my CoPilot link and you can get a 14-day free trial and 20% off your first month of personalized fitness if you sign up before February 1st. So thank you, CoPilot, for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to some of those amazing, gorgeous, timeless 2024 trends. Okay, first up on my list is going to be herringbone floors. I have seen so many herringbone floors. If you're not familiar, here is the herringbone pattern. It is sort of this interesting crosshatch. It's similar to a chevron. I like it more than a chevron personally. I just find the chevron to be a little bit too linear. The herringbone is just really, really beautiful. It sort of evokes kind of a Parisian sort of French style, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I think this is a timeless design because it has been used for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. It feels very European, feels very, very chic, very fabulous, and it's a beautiful way to lay your flooring that is also very trendy. So here's the thing, like trendy things, you might say, I don't like trends, I don't like trends, whatever. Everything kind of ebbs and flows. Some things are super hot and trendy, and then they look like garbo like the next year or month or week. And then some things are just maybe a little bit more popular sometimes, a little bit less popular sometimes, but overall they sort of kind of, are always looking pretty good. I would say herringbone hardwood flooring, and really any herringbone paddle, because you can lay this in a tile, you can do this in flooring, whatever. I think herringbone is always a really, really good pattern. It's timeless. It has been around for a long, long time. I think it will continue to look really, really good. It's interesting enough that it sort of keeps the space feeling really fresh, but it's also sort of has a tendency of sort of blending into the background. So it's not so bold and so kind of garish and in your face that it's something that you're gonna kind of regret later. It is something that's been around for a long time, and that's why I think I'm comfortable predicting that it's gonna look great in the future. And also it is super, super trendy and hot right now. So a lot of people, including myself, really love herringbone floors, but I think it's always gonna look good. Okay, next up on my list is going to be medium toned and sort of like neutral wood tones. Generally speaking, you've got your like gray woods, you got your really, 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 really super dark wood, think like an espresso wood or something like that. So very, very dark. Gray, as I said, like a medium toned gray, very, very popular in sort of a glam style, a farmhouse style, really super popular in kind of the late 2010s. Then you've got like natural wood flooring, like oak flooring, or you've got walnut, or different wood species of different types of flooring. And wood naturally is a warmer tone toned wood, except for some reclaimed woods and some driftwoods or whatever. Yes, there are different ones that are out there that are natural, that are not necessarily warm, but generally speaking, most wood leans warm. And so I feel fairly comfortable saying that right now, the light and medium toned woods are very, very popular. Think oak, think ash, think walnut. And these woods, I think, are timeless. I think they always look good. We've seen furniture has been built with these wood species for hundreds and hundreds of years, and I think they will continue to be very, very popular. Now, I would say that 3 to 5 years ago, definitely the gray woods were super popular, and then the super, super, super light Scandi woods were super popular, very, very popular with the Scandinavian design style, which of course took over and everybody kind of loved this style for sure. Now I will say that a lot of the woods that are a little bit darker, a little bit richer in tone, for example, walnut, are gaining steam and becoming a lot more popular. So I would still say though, that whether you go with oak, ash, walnut, whatever, cedar, what have you, I do think those woods always look good. So these are natural materials, these are timeless, nature does it best, nature is timeless, I've said it here 1,000 times on this channel, and I think those light, medium toned woods, those natural wood tones are always going to look good. They're super popular right now, which is great and fantastic, but I think these will still look great in 5-10 years. Now, I can't necessarily say the same about woods that have been stained or colored in unnatural colors. I would say that those tend to look a lot more dated, as that is not something that appears in nature, and it's something that always kind of looks a little bit weird after a while. So that might be super trendy for a bit, but ultimately fall out of favor. But I feel comfortable saying that the light, medium toned woods, generally speaking, will always look good. Again, now we might go in and out of fashion. You know, we might not all be having oak floors necessarily in 3 to 5 years, but if you have oak floors, they're never gonna look stupid. Okay, next up on my list is gonna be paper lanterns and lights. So I talked about lighting a little bit later in this video, but I specifically wanna talk about paper lanterns because especially high quality ones, I think if it works into your own particular style, I think these are always really beautiful. I think they diffuse the light really gorgeously, and lighting in general, yes, some things go in and out of favor, but lighting in general oftentimes looks really good. So the thing is with the paper lanterns is we're dealing with something that feels very natural, feels very organic, diffuses the light really beautifully. And if you're not familiar, so exposed light bulbs, generally speaking, can sometimes look a little unflattering on people because you're getting direct light. Yes, you're looking at the light bulb behind me and thinking, but he's got one, well, whatever. But diffusing your light, meaning with a shade, with paper shade, linen, whatever you're using, does a really great job of sort of filtering the light. It's kind of like a cloud, you know, like when the sun goes behind a cloud, how everyone looks better than they do in kind of like direct sunlight. You know what I mean? Same thing's happening with a shade. So something like a paper shade does such a good job of diffusing the light that I think it just always makes for a really beautiful, flattering space. Now, these are very popular specifically in a lot of sort of Asian design styles, so Japanese design. These are very common, have been used for a very, very, very long time. And if that's sort of the style or what you're trying to create, that sort of serene, sort of beautiful, natural space, I think a paper shade is always a good idea. Now, of course, because some hot design styles like modern organic and, you know, Japandi, they're super, super trendy right now. People are loving them. So of course, the paper shades are going to really come into fashion and they are going to be super popular, but I think they always really, really look good. A lot of European designs also use a lot of paper shades and have done for a very long time. I think these are a safe bet. You know, you might not particularly love them and they might not be your style, and that's totally cool. They're never going to look good if they're not your style. But I think if you love them, I feel comfortable saying that they're going to look good in the future. That yes, they are super hot and trendy because some particular design styles are very popular right now that use them, but I think you can feel comfortable that even when those design styles inevitably are not as popular as they were, these are still gonna look really good. Okay, next up, I'm going to say neutral linen. So this is things like bedding, so your pillowcases, your flat sheets, whatever, your duvet cover, what have you, things like curtains. And you can also throw in cotton, to be honest, but anything sort of in a light neutral is just always gonna look good. So whether it's cream, whether it's sort of a bit more of a taupe, whether it's kind of a caramel color, whether you're looking on a little bit darker again, or you're going for, of course, the always timeless white, I think these types of linens always look really beautiful. Linen specifically is just a wonderful, great fabric. It's very kind of organic looking. It's got sort of a little bit sort of crinkly by design, which means upkeep is actually relatively easy. I changed out actually my bedding to be linen and I have not kind of really looked back. It's been quite amazing. And I just think that linen, along with other sort of natural fabrics, are always going to look good. So now there are, of course, obviously going to be different interpretations of them. So, you know, people might like different patterns one year and then, you know, 4 or 5 years later, a different pattern is going to come in and it's going to be super popular or whatever. But I think if you stick to something fairly neutral, it's going to look really good for years to come. Now, of course, I said neutral because those colors, especially in fabric, I think always look really good. Now, if you're someone who's like got caught up in, you know, Pantone's peach color of the year and you're like, yes, I need to get something in this gorgeous peach, or I want to get something in like plum, or I want to get some, you may or may not get sick of that. If it's your color and you love it, fantastic. But just because, you know, some company tells you that that's the color of the moment right now, if it's not for you, you know, you might live to regret it if you purchase it. I remember a few years back, mustard was like everywhere. Everyone wanted mustard. Well, you know what? If you got all of your entire bedding set done in mustard, you know, maybe you might be sick of mustard here in 2024, right? I don't know. Or maybe you still love mustard. That's cool. That's good for you if you do. But you know what I mean? These colors tend to kind of ebb and flow a little bit. And if they fit your color scheme and what you love, that's fantastic. But if you're doing it just because everybody else is doing it, you may find that inevitably those colors fall out of fashion, and you might find those linens don't hold up the way they used to. Now, I think neutrals though, kind of always look good because they tend to just sort of fade into the background of the rest of the space, and they work with all of the other stuff that you're doing that's a little bit more sort of trendy and changing. And those things always really look good because they move with the rest of your space. Okay, next up, we're going to say checkerboard flooring. Checkerboard flooring. Okay, we're going back to flooring here now. Okay, hold on. But Nick, I thought you said that checkerboard was super, like, we were seeing way too much checkerboard pattern. Yes, I did say that, and I still believe that. Checkerboard is an interesting pattern because it is very bold and has lots and lots of contrast. And for that reason, you got to use it fairly sparingly. Otherwise, I think it can be quite overwhelming to sometimes when you walk into a space. And I would say as a pattern, it is super, super trendy. I'm hoping the trend is maybe waning a little bit because I'm kind of sick of seeing it. But what we're seeing is a lot of the pastel checkerboard being done in coffee tables, being done in side tables, being done in rugs, being done in tapestries and like wallpaper. And like, we're just seeing a lot of checkerboard. And that for me is a little overwhelming, but that's just my own personal taste. And that is super, super, super trendy. Now, checkerboard in general is trendy of the moment, sure, right now. But what I think is timeless is things like a beautiful checkerboard, black and white flooring. So beautiful floor tile and a black and white checkerboard looks great always, in my opinion. I like it in a foyer, I like it in a mudroom, I like it in many places you really put tile, but specifically looking at that front hall, I've just seen some really gorgeous ones, and yes, they're trendy right now. But I think what we have seen is over the last decades and decades, we see these checkerboard flooring and we see them in old places, in new places, and they always look good. So yes, they ebb and flow. Yes, things go in and out of style, and checkerboard will eventually go out of style. We'll all be sick of it. And all those pastel checkerboard side tables are gonna end up on Facebook Marketplace, especially the ones that have been DIY'd to death. But I do think what's not gonna be thrown out and lifted up, hopefully, is going to be those checkerboard floor tiles in people's front hallways, because those are classic and timeless and gorgeous and beautiful and just always look good. That plus some herringbone flooring and you're in business. Okay, and then my next one is going to be unique lighting fixtures. So lighting is an interesting one, right? Because I do think that if you invest in really good quality time, honestly, like, you don't even have to spend a whole lot of money because there's some beautiful lighting fixtures that are out there, and there's a lot of dupes too that are out there that, you know, you might want to necessarily play with if that's sort of what you're looking for. But there's some gorgeous lighting fixtures that have been around, especially looking at the mid-century stuff, right? From the 50s, 60s, 70s that are so cool, right? Things like the PH5, things like the Herman Miller saucer lamps, right? All the different saucer lamps, there's a bunch of them that are out there, right? Those things are still super cool now. They still see them all over social media. We still see them everywhere. They're always a good idea even now, but they look great in the 1950s and 60s and 70s. So they still look good in the mid-century stuff. They still look good really now. There is a reason I think that vintage lighting is so sought after specifically. It ages very well. Like, it usually doesn't wear out the way that a lot of other stuff does, right? Like, a lot of stuff that you might bring into your house gets dinged up, you know, maybe, you know, kind of loses a lot of its structure over time, and it's not always super easy. Yes, you can get things reupholstered and refinished and whatever, but it's not as easy as lighting, which just sort of usually lighting, like brass lighting, whatever, just always really looks good. If you have like a grasshopper lamp, like from ages ago, and you can find a vintage one, it still looks amazing now as it did back then. So I think unique, interesting lighting fixtures are fantastic. I actually did a video ages ago on timeless lighting. I also did one on timeless chairs. I did a whole thing. Go check it out if you want. But the timeless lighting one specifically, I'm gonna link because I just think it is like talking about those classic designer pieces. You know, those classic pieces that are just so awesome, that are so cool, that were great then, and that still look good now. So if you want a bit more in-depth on that subject, go check out that video. But I just think that in general, investing in beautiful quality, amazing, fabulous lighting always makes a space look good and never looks looks dated. Now, again, some of them become really popular and then they don't, and then the new ones become popular and then they're not, and then that's fine. You know, trends will come and go, and that's cool. But if you find ones that you really love that fit with your own style, and you can find them and really, really appreciate them and enjoy them, and you love looking at them all the time, they'll look good for years to come. Okay, before I close out the video, let me thank again today's sponsor, CoPilot. If you want to check them out, feel free to. Their link is down in the description. So that's it for me for today, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this video. Those were my picks for hot, trendy items right now that I think will actually be sticking with us for a little bit longer. I'm going to link here, of course, to what I just said, the timeless lighting video. So if you want to go check that out, see what I think are some fabulous pieces that still look good now and looked good when they were first created. There's a lot of history in that video if you want to check it out. I'll see you all in that video. So thanks a lot. Bye.